workshops conducted by the State Office of Elections. 2. Assigns undivided responsibility for the general election to someone experienced in managing elections than that of equally staffed. 3. Comply with relevant legislation under Section 1645 Hawaii Revised Statutes HRS, including designating official, political, and press observers for the Big Island Counting Center and the public release of identities of observers. And 4. The State Elections Commission, as required under Section 11-8.5 of the HRS, conduct an investigation of the process and actions concerning August 11, 2012. This resolution was introduced by Mr. Palago and waived by the GRC Committee.
Mr. Palago.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Motion to approve Resolution 311-12.
Second by Mr. Blas. Discussion, Mr. Palago, you have the floor.
Thank you, sir. I'll be very brief. I'm pleased to introduce this resolution by request on behalf of the League of Women Voters. Briefly, and in general, we have the support from 3 Filipino community civic organizations. We have the support of 2 veterans organizations who have reminded our office that they've sacrificed to protect the Constitution, and that gives us and allows us the right to vote here today. In respect to the resolution, they are, whereas clauses 1 to 6 gives us rationale and compels us to format this resolution for introduction this day. In resolution, in whereas clause number 7, this embeds the 4 recommendations from the League of Women Voters. Number 1, in essence, forges communication building. It facilitates coordinating and coordination amongst different agencies. It increases a dialogue between the citizenry and the government, and it certainly strengthens our democracy. In recommendation number 2, the latest communication from the Office of Election shows us that the office is now taking responsibility for their part of our county elections. We remind everyone that we introduced this resolution before the Office of Elections gave their comments. In item number 4, the 4th recommendation from the League, it certainly shows us that we need to work hard to remind the State Elections Commission that HRS Section 11-8.5 does in fact authorize the Commission to investigate all Hawaii counties when questions regarding election processes arise or become apparent. We just need to note that recently the State Elections Commission has given an opinion and a statement that they are not enabled nor required to do an investigation. We challenge that, and we look forward to our continual discussion. In the first resolve, we ask this Council to approve and endorse the recommendations of the League of Women Voters. In the final resolve, we ask this Council support the League of Women Voters in asking the Governor and the mayors to help us protect our elections. And we ask for your support, and thank you for the privilege of introducing.
Mr. Hoffman, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is Ms. Durson still in the audience?
No, but Ms. Oba is.
Okay, if somebody can speak for the League of Women Voters.
Ms. Oba, please come forward. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here all day.
Thank you.
Yeah, I do appreciate any of the public who has stayed around this long. Ms. Oba, thank you very much. I want to make a general statement and then ask you a question from your position. First of all, prior to learning that the State Office of Elections has considered the obvious point of taking over the status of the general election here in this county, I was certainly in full support of the particular resolution that Mr. Palago has offered. My question to you, ma'am, is that now, given the sort of change in status that we have, does this respond to most of the questions or all of the questions that the League of Women Voters have? And do you support the idea of the state taking charge of our elections here on this one occasion in November?
Well, as I said earlier in my testimony, it has changed the situation with the state elections office taking over. Whether we support it or not, we support the idea that they recognize that the voter confidence on the Big Island was being challenged, that people had lost faith, that we had heard from so many people. We were less concerned about who ran the elections, rather more concerned with that elections would follow procedures that were in place, that there would be experienced management and staff training, and we're seeing that. We have gotten word from the state elections office that training will continue, and they have no difficulty and have proven that it's like they run Honolulu and Oahu's elections. The Big Island and the other counties are delegated the responsibility, but the true responsibility lies with the state elections office. There's still plenty of work for the county clerk's office and the elections division here to do. Voter registration, absentee ballot applications. So they're going to be plenty busy, as well as assisting the state elections office on election day.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that, but my comments were more directed at the status of the resolution as it's now written, not whether the county clerk will have enough to do, even with the state more or less assuming responsibility. And the reason that I'm asking you these questions is that clearly the resolution is attempting to support your initiative that you presented to on behalf of the League of Women Voters to the council. You see, when I look at this, I also can look at perhaps even strengthening the resolution in some aspects. And given the change of status that we have now, I'd wonder whether one or two of the recommendations you made originally are still valid.
I think all of the recommendations will remain valid in any election. I think you need to always have adequately trained people. You always need adequate levels of staffing. You always need experienced people to be working it. So that hasn't changed at all. And I think for the council to support this at this time is sending a message that, yes, we believe that, and that should always be, even going forward, the situation.
Hey, Pete, could you quit moving around your microphone, please, because it's making a large eruption. Thank you, sir.
Okay, I got it. Thank you, Ms. Olga. I appreciate it. Mr. Chairman, I'll just make a couple comments and then shut up and turn my mic off. I support the resolution as we have it now. I'm just sorry on behalf of the council and on your behalf as well, and on behalf of Jemay, that the situation has degenerated to the status that it is now, and we find that the state feels compelled, for whatever reason, right, wrong, or indifferent, to step in and take over. I do believe that the recommendations that the League of Women Voters have made are good ones, and I particularly like and stress the idea that the initial response from the Office of State Elections regarding whether they have the authority or responsibility to take a stronger position on this issue certainly is clarified, and they sort of, if you will, reverse themselves from what I had originally thought they were saying sometime in late August. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, that quite frankly, we didn't take action on this somewhat sooner. As you know, you and I have talked briefly about this. I'm just sad to think that we've had to see the state step in, and I'm fully in support of the resolution that is being issued here on behalf of the League of Women Voters. Thank you.
Ms. Moore?
Thank you. I don't have a problem with the resolution as it's currently written. What I do have a problem with, and I guess it's going to be subject to further discussion, is that I really don't understand what the State Office of Elections is actually going to do. They have not defined, other than what's in the HRS, no definitions of the role that they're going to actually play. Because if they're going to send somebody down here on election day and say, here we are, we got problems, you know.
Ms. Moore?
So I'm concerned about that.
Just want to make sure we stick to the resolution.
I understand, and I support this resolution as it is written, but It's kind of changed because the state has decided to take over the elections without giving us any definitions of what they're gonna do.
Mrs. Smart?
Yeah, the one, I take all the League of Women's Voter recommendations very seriously, and I agree with them. And to some extent, as reading the newspaper articles and press releases and everything, which is the way this whole situation has really been played out, I am under the, I do understand that the area has been fully staffed even prior to the state stepping in, and some of your other recommendations are going to take care of itself. The most compelling one for me is item number 4, the investigation. I think that is very clearly needed. I think that has been made abundantly clear. A very thorough investigation, whether it's by the commission, and that would be my only concern. Who is it going to be by, especially since the commission is relegating any authority? Does it have to be an independent investigator? Is the commission sufficient enough to really look into what happened here? And I think even in our special council meeting, the clerk, when she came forward, mentioned that she would like an investigation as well. So I think we're all in agreement, and I think it's very clear, absolutely abundantly clear, that we have to have an investigation to what happened in the primary election so we can figure out how to move forward from here. The other 3 recommendations are very important, but I feel that they have been addressed in various different manners leading up to this point, whether they were triggered by this resolution, whether they were triggered by the press release of League of Women Voters. I don't really care. The point is that it's getting moved on. If that's what it took, so be it. Again, number 4, the investigation is the most compelling argument yet to continue moving this forward, if for no other reason.
Ms. Onishi?
Just one thought. I'm just happy to see this happening, but too bad it didn't happen earlier. But thank you, Mr. Pilago. Thank you. League of Women Voters.
Thank you. Any further discussion? If not, I'm going to say a couple of words before we go to the vote. First of all, Ms. Silva, thank you so much for being here. Like everyone else that's been here all day, thank you so much for being a part of this. I do want to say that I really appreciate the fact that the state League of Women Voters have come forward with this particular recommendations. But I will say, certainly not being involved in the process, but from the outside looking in, I think up to the point that you said this, most of these have actually been already completed by the county clerk and the hardworking election office. And so I think they've already implemented most of the things that you said here. But I do want to say this though, and Ms. Smart, thank you for saying this. But I got to tell you, right from the very beginning, in terms of the mishaps that had taken place on primary election day, Ms. Smart had mentioned that the clerk had actually asked for an investigation. And I just want to come up publicly and tell you folks, for me personally as a chairman, I told Ms. Kawaruchi, that with all the difficulties that took place, I wanted to make sure that as we move forward in a positive light, because the big focus was making sure that on November 6th that we have a positive, fair, and equitable general election. But I will tell you, not for 1 second did I not believe that we should do an investigation. Not for 1 second. But in order to move forward in a positive light, because of negativity that was being portrayed in the press, I thought it was very important that we make that move, and that's why I even called Mr. Scott Naughton when he says this nonsense needs to stop. What you need to do is stop making these type of comments in the newspaper and come back at Homali Mali and work with the clerk's office to make sure that we move forward. And I had that same conversation with the clerk, but at no time did I felt that we should not go forward with an investigation. I just felt that at the time, if that was what we were pushing at that time, it would almost sound kind of self-serving because of what took place. But I will tell you that I want to look to you, Ms. Ova, and the state election office. What you folks have done, the League of Women Voters, is you have shined a light on what is the most important part of this resolution. And that light is a need to investigate this. The state election commission already said they're not going to investigate. I ask you to please work with this council by us passing this resolution, and thank Mr. Pilago for bringing this forward, that we need to take it past that. If the state election commission, for God knows why they wouldn't want to investigate this, we can't just shun what took place. We need to determine whether or not what took place was absolutely purposeful. And it may not have been, but it needs to be looked into, because what we're talking about, if it was purposeful, we're talking about an actual illegal act in regards to the most precious, the most important thing in our society, which is the election process. So it needs to be done, and I thank you for doing that. And I encourage the League of Women Voters not to take the no, because by us facilities, we're not saying no. We want to have an investigation. But if the State Election Commission refuses to do so, then we need to move forward. Maybe it's Marian Higa. Maybe it's hiring a special investigator. Maybe it's the Attorney General. But whatever it is, I think the clerk had it right from the beginning. But I wanted to try to get us refocused on election, and I think we did do that. But with this very brave statement by the league, you brought us back to where we needed to be right from the beginning. So thank you for that, and I will support this, and I hope that we can continue to look at this so that we can really determine and make sure that these types of things will never happen again. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Claus.
Aye.
Ms. Ford. Aye. Mr. Hopkins.
Aye.
Mr. Ikeda.
Aye.
Mr. Onishi.
Aye.
Mr. Pilago.
Aye.
Ms. Smart. Aye. Mr. Yoshimoto.
Aye.
Chair Gon.
Aye.
Chair Gon Yadvanas.
Thank you, Bill 311 passes. Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. I got a message here, a note here. I think you asked me first for an item.
I doubt he's still available by phone. We did
Okay,
try to
yeah,
have
yeah.
Tony Baldwinero available for the 280, but
So
I
why
doubt
don't we
he's
do this here? I was requested to take Bill 170.